No problem, no problem. Let's dive in. Joining me on the line, and Jake, I'm going to take a run and start at your last name. I'm not sure I can do it, man. They said the pronunciation, and I've been the last 10 minutes I've been practicing, and I don't know if I'm saying it right. And then you put in, correct pronunciation of your actual instrument, and it's like, oh my gosh, this is just all over the place. But Jake, and this is how they have it wrote. Shimabukuro.
Yep, Shimabukuro. That's perfect.
Okay. Oh God, I've been dreading. I'm just going to call you Jake for the rest of the time, man. And it's nothing against you. I'm one of those people. I've never been able to pronounce last names correctly, and then yours came up, and it's like, oh God. Well, Jake, thanks so much for joining us. You got a new album out today, man. Jake and Friends. And when you say Jake and Friends, it really is like everybody on earth.
Oh my gosh. No, I'm so thrilled about this record and just so honored that all of these artists just took the time to do this with me. Yeah. So it's a project that we talked about maybe 4 years ago. And and my manager said, you got to do a collaborative, duets record. And I remember thinking, oh man, he threw out some names. I was like, oh, that would be awesome. But in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, this is never going to happen, But luckily, Ray Benson from Asleep at the Wheel, he's been a longtime friend, and he agreed to help me co-produce it. So the first phone call he made was to Willie Nelson.
Oh, wow.
And then 2 months later, we're in the studio with Willie Nelson recording Stardust. I mean, I was so nervous, but it was unbelievable. It was just he and I. We were in the studio. We played it live, and that's what's on the record. And then after we got Willie Nelson in there, then it gave the album credibility and momentum. And then after Michael McDonald came in, we did Go Now by Moody Blues. Bette Midler came in, we did The Rose,
Yeah.
It's just like Kenny Loggins is on there. Ziggy Marley, Jimmy Buffett, Billy Strings, Warren Haynes, Sonny Landreth, Jesse Colin Young. I mean, the list goes on, and it's just unbelievable. I mean, it's 16 tracks of collaborations, and I tell people that the album, instead of Jake and Friends, it should have been called Jake and Dreams Come True or something like that. That's what this is. I mean, it's ridiculous. So.
Out of all the people that you had on this album, and I do want to get to part of that here in a second, but was there anybody that you came out of this and you're like, because there's team ups and then there's like genuine friends, that sort of thing, where you could say, yeah, oh yeah, I'm friends with that person, but you just know them by association. Was there anybody that you came out of this and you're like, okay, I'm like legit friends with Willie Nelson now or something?
Oh man, I mean, I guess in my own mind, they'll always be my friends now.
What are you talking about? No. Bette Midler and me are like this.
Oh no, but I tell you, man, I just think the world of them. A lot of them, a lot of the artists that are on this album, we've actually worked together before, prior to this project. So so it was a little more comfortable to ask them to be a part of it, but some of them I had never met or worked with before, and now I'm just like, man, because like for example, Billy Strings, Jon Anderson. I mean, we had never worked together before, but after being able to record with them and play with them, I'm just like, man, they are just the nicest people. Even Jesse Colin Young, man, he's such a sweetheart, man. And I tell you, it's been so that's been awesome. And I do feel like, when you get to play music, especially in person, because music is about opening up, right? It's about expressing, and when you're trying to do good music, you have to open up and let the other person in. There's this honesty and this kind of vulnerability, right? That happens, and I think, and when that happens, you just, I don't know, you experience, this closeness, and I feel like a relationship just comes out of it naturally, So I have a lot of musician friends too that, like we see each other maybe a couple times a year, and we don't really know much about each other. Like we don't get to hang out or talk on the phone a lot, but every time we come together and play, it's like this magical moment. So, I mean, even if I hadn't seen the person in like 2 years and they called me at 2:00 in the morning out of the blue and needed a ride, I'd be there in a heartbeat, So it's like this really incredible, I don't know, this much deeper layer, this connection, that you have, and so that's the power of music. I can't it's hard to explain, but it's just it's really a magical thing. So man, I'm just thrilled about this experience that I got to have with all these incredible artists.
Who surprised you in not like a good way or something, but you came in and it just wasn't what you expected?
Gosh, I mean,
And that's not to say someone was mean or short or too goofy. Just something that you had it built up in your head going one way and then it went completely different.
well, there were two big surprises for me. On this record. Like I remember that came suddenly. Like one was when I was recording with Willie Nelson. I thought he was going to play guitar. So when I was learning the song Stardust, I mean, of course, it's one of my favorite songs. I mean, but I was learning parts, but I was also trying to figure out, what things I could do to complement, the guitar part. But the night before we went into the studio, I met him. Ray Benson took me to his house, and then, so I had my ukulele with me, and we walked in, and and Willie came, and I got to shake his hand. I was like, oh my gosh, it's so nice to meet you, and I'm so honored. Thank you for doing this. And he goes, oh man, no, I'm looking forward to it. And he goes, so we're gonna sing Stardust, right? So I said, oh yeah, I can't wait, And then he goes, oh well, maybe we should, run through it, once before we go in the studio. And I said, oh yeah, sure. And then there was like this awkward pause. And then I realized, oh, he means right now. I was like, oh, yeah. So I took the ukulele off my shoulder and I pulled it out and tuned it up. And then I realized, oh, he's not going to play guitar because he didn't have his guitar with him. And so I realized, and I got super nervous because then I realized, oh my goodness, I have to, make sure I carry the whole song while he's singing it. So, if he's playing guitar, there's less pressure because at any point I can just lay out.
Yeah.
And then, and then I can come back in, but so, yeah. So I remember we ran through it. I was so nervous. And then, and then he was like, oh, okay, great. We went into the studio and yeah, played it. And it was just, oh man, it was just a highlight for me. But yeah, that totally caught me off guard. And the other one that was really interesting too was playing with Billy Strings, because we didn't know what we were going to play. And then I'm a huge fan of his because man, that guy can rip, right? So when we came into the studio, we decided to just try to write something together. So I like had an idea for like this little ballad thing that could go into like a jam thing afterwards. So we were talking about. I played for him this little thing. He was like, "Oh yeah, that's cool." And then he kind of wrote this little chorus thing. And so we're like, "Oh, okay, great." So we'll do that. And then at some point we'll just go into a jam and see what happens. So we thought, well, let's just let's just try to kind of play through it. So we just started playing, and we didn't even know we were being recorded, but we just started playing. And then at some point we looked at each other and we're like, oh, okay, no. And we just kind of went into the more up-tempo thing, and he started shredding, and I was like, like just kind of comping for him. And then we started going back and forth, and we were just having so much fun, because it was the first time we played together. So I'm like, oh man, this is cool. We're just, playing with Billy Strings, and we're just having a great time. And he's such a wonderful improviser. So, it was just so much fun doing this with him. And then after we were done, we're like, man, that was cool. So we're like, let's record something like that. So we started making notes and being like, okay, we went to this part, this section like 3 times, and then we went to the jam, and then we tried to record it again, and it was okay, but there was like a little with the transitions didn't feel as natural, so we tried it again, and It was a little better. But then the producer said, he was like, hey, why don't you guys come in and listen to that first thing you guys did? And we were like, oh, you recorded that? We didn't even know they were recording. So we were like, all right. So we went into the control room, listened to it, and we looked at each other. We're like, this was great because it was so spontaneous. It was so off the cuff. We weren't overthinking anything. So what's actually on the record was just a rehearsal of the first time we ever played together.
That's awesome.
That was magical.
The making of that video is it just came out today, and I was actually watching that before you called. And that it was fun to watch you guys just go back and forth, because that's really what it was. It was just 2 guys having fun playing, their respective instruments and jamming, for lack of a better term.
And the thing that I'm so bummed about is, so what's on the making of the video was actually the second or the third take that we did, because because we were just rehearsing that first take, we didn't even have the cameras set up yet.
Oh,
So,
really?
Yeah, so if you listen to the making of, it's actually, and I mean,
Wow, way
it's
to
obvious
ruin
just when you hear it. I know.
way to ruin the magic there, Jake. Thanks.
But actually, so what you're actually hearing is the take that we did after that first take. And that's why, like, you can kind of see, like, we're like, oh, well, we kind of flubbed up, so we're like, oh, well, let's just take it from the second
Yeah.
half. But but what's actually on the recording was because they were still setting up the cameras when we were playing that. They were setting up the cameras in the room, and we're just like going for it, right? So it's so funny that but sometimes it's that spontaneity and that just like that moment that you just capture that has all the magic, and a lot of times that stuff happens when you don't think you're being recorded, because once I know I'm being recorded, I go into a different headspace, and you start overthinking things. And so I'm so thrilled that we got that performance, because that's so rare to be able to capture something without the players knowing that they're being recorded.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, that was really special for me.
Well, Jake, I know you got to get rolling, man. Where's the best place to get Jake and Friends?
Oh, so yeah, you can get it on Amazon, Amazon Music, iTunes, Apple Music, all that. And then also off of my website, jakeshimabukuro.com. It's on CD, and we also did a release on vinyl. So I can actually say it's an album. Yeah.
It's the little things, right?
Yeah, man. Well, I really appreciate the support, and thanks for your time. Thanks for this opportunity to talk about the new project.
No problem. Jake, great to meet you, and best of luck to you, okay?
All right. You take care.
See you, buddy. Bye.
Aloha. Okay, bye.